I'm Maria, and this is the Agile State of Mind. Welcome! So, are you as excited as I am about the new Scrum Guide update? I certainly hope so. Today, I will walk you through 8 key changes that were announced yesterday. To give you a preview, 1. A new concept called product goal has appeared. 2. The term development team has completely disappeared. And 3. There is no more mention of the 3 questions during the daily Scrum. Intriguing, isn't it? Are you ready to dive in for more details? But before we go there, do click on the subscribe button and hit on the bell icon so you don't miss any Agile updates. And now, let's check what's in there. Finally, we got a reason to celebrate in 2020. It's been 25 years of Scrum, and the new Scrum Guide was released on November 18th, 2020. Its last update took place 3 years ago, in 2017. And now we'll see what has changed since then. Remember how I said that Scrum is more prescriptive in the Scrum versus Kanban video? Well, it just got less prescriptive. And that's a fact. The authors say that over the years they kept on adding more and more guidelines to the Scrum Guide, and that made it more and more prescriptive. And in 2020, they decided to clear things up. They used simple words and removed everything that made it entangled and complex. So it's simpler and shorter. The Scrum Guide has been completely rewritten. If you take a closer look at it, you will see that there are just a few sentences left from the 2017 version. And the text has also decreased in size from 19 pages in 2017 to 13 as we have it today, which basically means more work for me to bring you all the updates about all the changes in detail. Yet, it's still exciting. So now, let's see the 8 biggest changes in the 2020 Scrum Guide update. 1. No more 3 questions for the daily Scrum. In 2017, the 3 questions, what did I do yesterday to help the development team meet the sprint goal, and so on, were made optional. And in 2020, they completely disappeared. Does it mean that we cannot use them anymore? Of course not. The motivation behind it is to keep the framework open and less prescriptive. It basically means to give you the choice of how you want to structure your daily Scrum. It actually says that the developers can propose any structure they want, provided that it focuses on the update towards the sprint goal and produces a plan for the day. If you're looking for an inspiration on how to conduct your daily Scrum, check out my video about how to walk the board. 2. No more development team. So the term development team got replaced with the word developers. Its aim is to remove a team within a team. We used to have a Scrum team, and within that we had the development team. Remove the strange relationship between the product owner and the development team and bring the focus back to delivering value and give responsibility of it to the whole team and not just the product owner. Because whenever the developers do what the product owner tells them to do, we have a problem. Why? We need the people to challenge the decisions. At any time, check if what we're doing is bringing us closer to our product or sprint goal. The important takeaway here is within the Scrum team, there are no sub-teams or hierarchies. And this brings us to the 3rd topic, which is the introduction of a product goal. This is a whole new term in Scrum. And yes, all of us who thought we knew Scrum have to deal with it and learn about it. And yes, it's still exciting. The product goal is to the product backlog what the sprint goal is to the sprint backlog. It's what all our sprints should add up to. It describes your product backlog and gives direction to the Scrum team. It's also meant to help the team get somewhere with Scrum and not just do Scrum for its own sake, to deliver value derived from the product goal. And it helps frame the sprint goal, the product reviews, and give meaning to what you're doing. And we all know how difficult it is to choose just one goal, even for the sprint. So now think that according to the Scrum Guide, you should stick to one product goal at a time. It's time for all of us to learn to say no. And I don't mean to the product goal, but to multiple goals. 4. 3 commitments. In the last version of the Scrum Guide, we only had one mention of a commitment, and it was represented by one of the Scrum values. Now, this value is embodied in 3 commitments, each one derived from one artifact. And so, product goal is the commitment for product backlog, sprint goal is the commitment for the sprint backlog, and definition of done is the commitment for the increment. These commitments exist to bring transparency and focus to all the 3 artifacts. And to refresh everybody's memory about what the artifacts are, they are the representation of work or value, like product backlog. And they help keep the important information, which is the work backlog, transparent. 5. Self-managing over self-organizing. There is no more self-organization of the development team. Well, there's no more development team either. Now we are moving towards a self-managing Scrum team. Scrum Guide clarifies that it means that they internally decide who does what, when, and how. 6. Sprint planning, replanned. Up until recently, we were talking about 2 important parts of the sprint planning: the what and the how. Now we have 3 equally important topics to cover. 1. Why is this sprint valuable? And product owner proposes how the sprint could increase the product's value. And we have a mandatory sprint goal to be defined by the whole Scrum team before the end of the sprint planning. 2. What can be done this sprint? Very similar to the what from the past. Through a discussion with the product owner, the developers select items from the product backlog to include in the current sprint. And 3. How will the chosen work get done? This is also very similar to what we previously have. So the developers decide on how they will implement the work to be done and decompose it to smaller pieces. 7. No more servant leader. There is also quite a change to the Scrum Master role, and as you can imagine, it impacts directly my daily work. So I took a closer look at it, and I checked. And in 2017, the word accountable appears only once, and it's about the product owner being accountable for managing the product backlog. In the recent update, it appears 8 times, and 2 of them are applied directly to the Scrum Master. The Scrum Master is accountable for establishing Scrum as defined in the Scrum Guide, and the Scrum Master is accountable for the Scrum team's effectiveness. And apart from gaining the accountability within the Scrum team, Scrum Masters should serve the larger organization. Jeff Sutherland explained that they are catalysts for organizational change. So they need to manage up and manage down. They need to deal with the management as well as facilitate the team, as they both go together. And this time we do it as true leaders who serve. I don't know how about you, but to me, it took over a year to fully grasp the meaning of a servant leader. Well, I can only rejoice in the fact that I got it before it was too late. Now it is, so if you haven't, don't bother. The good news is you can stop trying. The term servant leader has been replaced with a new one, the leader who serves. Clear, isn't it? Apparently, it was meant to put more emphasis on the serving part rather than the leader part. Jeff Sutherland explains it by comparing a Scrum Master to a rugby captain. In the end, Scrum also comes from rugby, right? And he says, not that you are going to tell people what to do, but you are going to talk to the people and inject the sense of mission and explain the importance of what we are doing, create inspiration. And then you're gonna get out there and take blows for the team. And this is why people will follow you. And last but not least, the 8th change It's about the simplification of the language and opening to all the fields, and not only IT. So the term developers might sound odd to us who work in IT, because when we hear developer, we see a programmer and not a quality engineer or a designer. But in other fields, you can say that you are developing a marketing campaign, and this language is meant to be more inclusive. There have been some words tossed out because they refer too much to the IT, like testing, system, design, or requirement. For example, Scrum is made for everyone, and now the language also reflects it. And that's all for today. I hope you found this summary interesting. As the author said in the presentation, Scrum hasn't changed. They just found a better way to describe it, and it got lighter, clearer, and more tightly coupled. Stay tuned for more detailed updates about the old new Scrum. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.